welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Dented Moon from CZT Lisette Hofer. So this would be a tangulation or a variation. That's our word for variation if you're new to Zentangle. On the classic Zentangle original Tangle Crescent Moon. And I know I use Crescent Moon. It's a great tangle anyway, but I for sure use it in my Zentangle essential classes because um, it teaches the art of auraing, and it's a great high contrast tangle. So just really neat, and it has some could have some 3D-ish effects, and just it's really lovely. All right, so normally this starts off with what we call, lovingly ladybugs or bumps that we would put around whatever area that we're filling in. This one, though, whatever you want goes. So it is just bumpy or dented. So it's just like, well, just let it happen. It's all good. Whatever shape you want, do it. And remember that you have to fill them in. Oh, let's see. I think I'm going to leave it like that. All right. Now, I was thinking, yeah, remember, Heather, that we're going to fill these in. Now, I could have probably just done this with this graphic one, but sometimes I like to, well, especially when it's not really the case here, but especially when I'm doing something that I have a nice angle. I want to have a nice angle. That's what I intended to say. This didn't really need to, but it's a habit. And I usually will outline as to keep myself out of trouble, meaning going outside of the lines. But you know what? When we're doing a fill in like this, and I call them course corrections because there's no such thing as a mistake in Zentangle, and so I just call them course corrections because I gosh, I'll have to get the story 100% in my head, but I remember a speaker I was listening to talking about, and I can't remember honestly if it was a boat or a plane, and it could be applicable to both. But it's like if you just like put in going from point A to point B, and you just like fly on what you think is a straight course, just because of the way things happen, you would end up off course. So they do course corrections along the way. So it's not that there's anything wrong. It's just correcting the course. So that's why I have adopted that for when we have things that we want to course correct. I don't even want to say any other word. And so what's nice is, so if you didn't like a particular shape, like I'm not really keen on this one, so I'm going to add another lump right here. And as long as you need to make it bigger, then you can. There we go. Going the other direction, there are other course corrections that we can find. All right. Or you just don't worry about it. Okay. The next step, and all of the steps follow what we would do with Crescent Moon, and which that, I'm going to just touch that right there. And that next step is that we aura these lumps. And and so you're gonna do all of the contours to the best of your ability, or if you need to kind of add one, I suppose. I know sometimes when I'm doing something like this where there's a contour, and I'm thinking of like the Tangle Nippa in particular. I'm sure there are some other ones where you're trying to continue the contour as you go, because that's pretty much all you're doing. But I noticed that like some of the contours end up going flat. So what I found is that I have to maybe over exaggerate some, or just be careful. So it's like as they start going a little flat, just to make sure to really follow that contour and not cheat at all. And so we're going to just continue to go all the way around, and you just continue. And actually, I'm gonna, I don't think she does it differently. You know, it's so interesting. Nope, she looks like she does it the same way I do. It's interesting because there are a number of ways that you can do this because everybody puts their own take on it. And in fact, my mom and I do this one a little bit differently, and it's just really funny. And actually, in watching, Maria, Rick, and Fam tangling, they do the same thing. Like when we just attended Zen again, which is a CZT conference, so to speak. And it's so fun when they each, they'll do the same tangles, and it's just neat because then we really get to see how they do it differently. And I like to share different ways to do things because something will resonate with one person and not with another, and that's why I like to do that. All right. So as I'm right there, I'm getting real close to what I call. Well, I might have to come up with a different term other than bouncing. That's what I consider it, but it probably will fit. Let's see. I think I can fit these both, or at least, well, maybe not. Nope. What I do is I judge. So when I get to a place like this, I judge. Well, can I get this aura up here? I was like, well, I probably could, but I'd end up touching there. So why not? We'll just do it right now. It's when it's a smooth, when we're just doing the smooth with the regular crescent moon, because it's a curve line, and then I just think of it bouncing. It's like going doink, and that's what it to me seems like. But it's a similar idea. So I'm not going to make it all the way through. So I'm going to stop there, and then start auraing the next one. Now I know some people, and same thing here, and then I just keep going, just like that. Some would like say go to that and then just start right here, and they're auraing each one separately, where I'm auraing them as kind of as a collective. The lack of a better way to say it. It's gonna be tight. Well, see, and it's okay if it. In my book, it's okay if it touches. But it's so interesting. Just like everything, Zentangle. And I know I've mentioned it before, I attribute it to like handwriting. And we all kind of learn the same way, but then we all put our spin on it, and it ends up different. See, and my inner is looking a lot like what it normally would. And see how it's just kind of pinging off of each little corner, just like that. And yeah, and that's how I finished it. And if you've done it before, done Crescent Moon before, and you do that where you always go back and then you end up not with necessarily continuous lines, they kind of like overlap or something. That is perfectly fine. All right. So what I do for these open parts, and I usually check it over too, because like here's a little gap. I might do something there. I'm not sure, but like right here, I just aura it from the other direction, and keep doing it until you can't fit anymore. This one's interesting. It was almost looking like an onion dome, and then the pen didn't want to do what I wanted it to do, and that's okay. Oh, and let's just see. There has to be something to put right here. And even if it's just a little like that, it ends up looking neat. So I always kind of look it over and see, is there anything else? Oh, that was it right here. See, if I had aimed that a little bit better, I think I'm just gonna leave that one. But what a neat take on a classic tangle. It's a great tangulation. Now, gosh, for shading, usually the way I do this is I do, well, there's one of two ways, but I think this one might work best here. Is we're just gonna do the perimeter, and I I'm just adding a little extra. And we'll bring it to the inside. I think I needed a little bit more, but that's okay. I can add more. And I just see how far I can stretch it, bring it up to where I want it. A lot of times, especially when I'm doing regular Crescent Moon, I personally like the graphite to come even or just cover the bumps. But on this one, I don't think that's going to work because it's maybe just a little bit too much. Now, something else, and I think I will do it. This ends up with a lot of different curves. But something that you could do is, I'm just going to pick out some waves. So right here where this has a nice wave. And over here, I'm just going to use what's left of my tortillon because there's a lot. Maybe that a little bit. And maybe, kind of some on each side. And, where was it? This is, I can't find it now. Oh, it was over here. So I kind of covered that with the graphite. But if there's something that you're not really caring for, this is a great way to play with it. Yeah, but and you don't have to do every place that has a bump. It's going to just depend on how you did it because you don't want to have too much. Or maybe you do. The Zentangle is so great. It's like, well, we have these guidelines, we have these. They're not really rules, but follow this, do that. But then at the same time, you don't have to do any of it. It's all okay. But you pick and choose. What do you want? What do you like? What do you want to emphasize? What do you want to de-emphasize? But how neat it just turns out totally wavy or totally groovy is one good way to say it, as my friend Jen would say. Love it. How neat. And adding the graphite on the outside, it kind of gives it a ledge. And oddly, I always think this one, it should make this pop up here, but instead it kind of, and maybe it's because of this or because of just the way the tangle looks. It always looks like it's going down. I don't know. It's just neat. Really, really cool. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, I'd love it if you click the like button. And while you're at it, while your hand is on the mouse or clicking things, if you have not subscribed yet, would love to have you be a subscriber to the channel. In the description section, there are links to step outs, ways to connect with me. So if you did really like it, maybe you want to come and take an online class with me and some other crazy Tangle addicts. We would love to have you join us. The more, the merrier. And if you happen to be on Facebook and want to hang out with us, we have a private Facebook group. You'll find that link in there also. And a link to my page. So if you just want to follow me, that's, on there, that's fine. But the group is where we kind of have the conversation. We share work and just have a lot of fun. So let's see, what else do I want to tell you? I teach, speaking of the teaching part, I do teach twice weekly. I have a lot of free classes. Thursdays, I do 2 sessions on Thursdays, 2 sessions on Tuesdays. Most of the Tuesdays, though, I only have one that's a freebie. And that's called Tough Tangle Tuesday. Thursday is Tangle Time. That is always free. And it's I keep to those days unless I have something that I cannot avoid scheduling on top of. I try to get out of a lot to make sure that I can keep on these days. So anyway, I just want to let you know that. And again, we do have a lot of fun. If you go to the homepage of this YouTube channel, which is, if you click on my name or my picture, that'll take you there. You can look at the playlists. And I have a playlist of class replays. So you can get a flavor of what we do. And it should be almost like you're there. You just won't be able to read the live chat, which is usually what we're cracking up about. So anyway, we would love to have you join us. And again, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching. And I wish you happy tangling.